Hey friends, I'm back to film my November TBR. I cannot believe it's November. This month for reading was pretty awful, I will say. Did not have the best reading month for October. I think because I was just I went to Comic-Con. We had a bunch of days off. We're heading to the end of the marking period and my focus was not the best. So we're gonna get it back on track to make sure the end of the year is a strong one. The TBR and Beyond Reading Challenge is back, which I'm super excited for. So that is gonna be how I structure my thing. I'm not sure how my game is gonna work, I'll be honest. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through all the prompts and the books that I'm gonna pick for those prompts, and then we will wrap it up. I do have some e-arcs that I'm going to try to get to. I will admit, I really don't know what I want to read. So I have a lot of high fantasy on here, a lot of like fantasy in general, just because I'm craving some escape from reality. And of course, books that sort of go along with the prompt. So, I have a couple of e-arcs on my list. I'm just going to talk about them quickly and throw up the pictures. The first is The First Bright Thing, which was a adult fantasy book that I did get approved of an e-arc for. It's like a circus story that I really wanted to get at New York City Comic-Con and I wasn't there that day. So I got an arc of that. I will attach a photo here, which I'm very excited for. I'm really happy I got approved for an arc of that. So that will probably be a book that I definitely try to read this month, I hope. But yeah, that's the first one. And the next color is a couple of YAs. The next is The Bone Weaver by Aiden Thomas. I have an e-arc and a physical copy of that because I got it from ALA. That is like a mythology book, I think, as well. The Counselors by Jessica Goodman, which is her newest book that I didn't get to read this month. Again, I was having a little bit of a thriller issue. And then Queen of the Dead by Lindsay Livingston. And then City of Time by Gwendolyn Clare. That's a new arc I just got. So those are the e-arcs I'm going to try to focus on this month and see if I can make some progress on them. And I'm going to just put a graphic up, I think, on my Instagram. So if you want to see the covers, they'll be on there, and I'll probably do that the first day of the month. So go check that out. But yeah, let's get into the TBR. So the first proc I have to read is a book or a buddy read, a group or a buddy read from this group. So I'm going to read Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tam. I did have a physical copy, but I think I sold it. I might have sold it. So I am going to get the audiobook from my library because I started reading this and it felt the pacing was a little bit hard for me to follow. So I'm going to read the audiobook and hopefully I have a better experience and hopefully I like it a little bit more. But here is the beautiful cover. And I read the first 50 pages and it's about a girl. She's the daughter of the moon goddess and she has to go on an adventure because her mother's in trouble and she has to sort of go away from the home that she lives in, and it has to do with like Chinese mythology, I think. I was intrigued right off the bat, so I'm really hopeful that I like it better as an audiobook than a physical book. And now let's get into all the rest of the physical books that are on my TBR. So the first prompt was to pick like a spooky middle grade. I tried this last month. I sort of failed. But I'm going to pick up The Light Casters by Janelle McCurdy. And this is has to do with a kingdom. There's mythologies. It's about creatures and nightmares. It's about occult storms. And she has to team up with her friends to save the day. I'm intrigued. This cover is so pretty. But yeah, it has to do with some type of mythology, I think. There's a Reaper King. I'm intrigued. This came out in September. Haven't heard a lot about it. I know they were selling copies of it at Comic-Con, so it is getting some headway, so I would love to tackle this. So yeah, and it seems like maybe it will be a better pick for me than the one that I chose because it does have some dark elements to it as well. So this will be my first book for the spooky middle grade. The next is reading a gothic story. I'm not sure if this is gothic, but it's like one of my last books on my TBR for like the year. So I'm going to read Gallant by V.E. Schwab. I have heard sort of mixed things about it, but I love books with like a unique structure. And I think like she winds up going to her mom's old school where her mom attended after her mom's death, and she has to sort of solve some secrets about it. I'm intrigued. I haven't heard a lot of things about this book, to be very honest with you, like neither good nor bad. I think I just stopped watching reading vlogs of books that I'm like really excited for because people sometimes sway my opinions. But I'm gonna pick this up and I'm gonna give you guys my thoughts, hopefully. And then a book I'm nervous about. So there are two. One is Babel, I can never say it right, by R.F. Kuang. I want to read this. I really, really do. I'm just nervous about the size and if I'm going to fall into a reading slump because they've been so slumpy. But I've heard very good things. So this one might be an option. And also Blood Like Magic by Lyselle Sansbury might be an option. This might be the book I read like on Halloween because it does have to do with witches, but they're massive. So I don't know. These are my options and I might just stick them both on my TBR and just see what happens. But yeah, those are the books I'm nervous about. But yeah, if I had a pick right now, I would probably say Blood Like Magic. But I also know I might want to read something a bit more dense when I come home. So I don't know. These are my options. So we will see how that all shakes out. And now let's go to the second half of my TBR because I can't have all these books on my floor because my puppy will get them. So I'll be back with my next stack. So the next prompt was to read a book with blood on the cover. So I am going to pick up They'll Never Catch Us by Jessica Goodman. This is the same author that wrote They Wish They Were Us and also The Counselors, which recently came out. This is one that's about softball. My mom also told me that like I was deathly afraid of getting hit in the face with a ball as a child. So if I wind up reading another book with blood on the cover, I might wind up switching them. But this has blood on the cover. I know I have other books too, but this one does have blood on the cover. So and then the next prompt was to read like a fall themed read or a book that like is very, very reminiscent of fall. So I have Broken Web by Laura Emily, which is the sequel to Forest of Souls. I also have The Luminaries by Susan Dennard. It's actually over there, so I'm not gonna go get it. But those are my two options for that prompt. And hopefully one of them works. They're both pretty long. I'm picking a lot of long books this month, but I really have been craving fantasy and I haven't been reading it, which again, always go with your reading instincts. You'll prevent slumps that way. But yeah, so also Luminaries, but that's actually over there. So I'm gonna get that, but that is also a possibility. And then another book that I actually have to read for the book club I'm in. Hopefully we still do it. That's the problem, but that's the plan. But The Hacienda by Isabel Canas is a it's like a, you know, a BIPOC book by a BIPOC author of color, or, you know, Mexican got made in a supernatural suspense novel in the aftermath of the Mexican War of Independence. So I'm going to count this. I'm going to read The Hacienda by Elizabeth Canas. Hopefully it works. If not, I can pick something else, but I have to do this for a book club, and I figured I would count it for that one as well. So I was trying to think of a fear I have, and I do not like being the center of attention. It's the irony of my life that I'm also a drama teacher, but I decided to pick up 14 Ways to Die because me being the center of a reality TV show would pretty much be my worst fear. And this follows a main character named Jess. Her mother was murdered by the Magpie Men. 10 years later, the killer is alive and just as applies to appear on an internet reality show where everything is followed, and then the killer that killed her mom starts killing the people on the cast. Sounds interesting. These chapters are like ridiculously short. They're like maybe like 3 pages. So this will be a great commute book because then I like will never like miss something, which I hate not being able to finish a chapter on a commute. Just a personal thing. Like I like finishing a chapter. I feel like I come to a conclusion. It doesn't always happen when you're commuting. So this one will be a fun one. I've had it for a while. It was like a $5 sale at Barnes & Noble one of the years. So yeah, this is exciting. And the next planned audiobook I'm going to have is Grey's Reservations, which is like a cozy mystery about a supernatural travel agent that helps a detective solve a murder. I'll put a photo over here. I'm actually in the middle of this one, but I'm probably not going to pick it up until Monday or Tuesday, so I will be able to finish this for that, but I have to read a cozy mystery. I have a lot of options too, so if I by chance finish it, I'll just pick something else. But that's what I'm going to put on my TBR. And then I need to read, like the 2 like bonus points, like if I get to them, would be read a creepy graphic novel, which I picked up Sue in the Shadow, which I got this from Abram, the Amulet Books, and it's just like a, you know, a graphic novel. And I also need to read a book either at night or in the dark. So I picked Hanging with Vampires. really, really short. And since this TBR is so massive, it might be good to have some smaller options. So those are all the books on my TBR. It's always crazy. It's always chaotic. I just hope for a more easy reading month than last month, and I just think it will be a little bit easier. I also want a Christmas crap this month as well. Start planning Bookmas, but also just get back on track. That's really what I feel. I feel like a little bit indecisive right now. So that is the plan. I will talk to you guys for my next video when I'm talking about my September wrap up. We'll get into it all, and I'll talk to you guys for my next video. Bye, friends.